Hi, welcome back to another tutorial with Vintage Market Design furniture paint products. We are going to go beyond the basic painting and glazing and clear coating and go into some really fun products, part of the line that many people have not even used yet. And so what we're going to do today is, first of all, do some decoupage with paper napkins, and I'm going to show you how to peel these so you get a really thin layer that adheres beautifully and doesn't wrinkle and doesn't bubble. And we're going to be using the Vintage Market Design Paper It, which is their decoupage medium, and it's a wonderful medium. It dries quickly, it's water-based, there's no odors, and you get a nice matte finish with it, so you don't have something shiny and visible on there. So we're going to do the decoupage with the Paper It. Then we're going to go back and use one of the Atelier glazes. I picked Greystone to go over the napkins that I chose, and then we're going to finish it off like we always do with clear coat. This time I'm using an interior in the satin finish. So that's the basics to start with. I primed and painted, or actually my dear husband primed and painted my sample board here. We used the Block It primer. These boards are just pine and it's not really necessary, but I personally always do prime because I like to make sure that the adhesion is going to be very strong, and I want my colors to be real pure, and I just love what the Block It primer does as a base. It makes it very smooth. So we've got a coat of Block It primer on here, and then we've got 2 coats of cotton, which is the very pure white with no yellow or cream or gray in it. I love it as a base. We do very many pieces of furniture with this and do a lot of different glazes and crowning touch finishes, and it's just a super neutral base to start with. So that's all dry and ready to go. What I would usually do with this is do the Block It, wait 4 hours, do my first coat of paint, wait until the next day, do my second coat of paint, and then wait till the next day to start doing all this decoupage and everything. Because there's a difference between a chemical bond, which is curing, and dry to the touch. Here in New Mexico, we get dry to the touch in about 15 minutes, but it's not actually cured. So this was painted yesterday and it's good to go. I don't have to worry about any problems with the surface. So the first thing I'm going to do, and first of all, let me show you, these are some really pretty botanical print napkins that I have. And if you get on the website with Vintage Market and Design, they have an amazing assortment of beautiful paper napkins. There's some in a nice smoky blue, there's some with a French motif with kind of an aqua background, there's a turquoise, there's some with black on white, pure classic. There's just a lot to choose from. And like I said, I really love using paper napkins to decoupage because it's one of the papers that gives you the least amount of challenges. It's super thin, it's super porous, and it just goes very quickly. So the most important thing to do with these paper napkins is to peel them apart. And usually you'll find that there's 2 to 3 layers. This one that I'm using has 3. There's a layer in the back that's white and absorbent, there's one in the middle, and then there's the one that has my pattern, which is the one that I'm most concerned about for decoupaging with. And you can see how flimsy that is, which makes it great for decoupaging because it's not going to be heavy and wrinkle and bubble and do all the things that a super heavy paper would do. So I'm just going to get rid of the back of the napkin, use that for lunch tomorrow, and we'll do this one for the decoupage. And I kind of like to tear my paper for decoupage. Everybody has a different viewpoint about this, but I like it to be a little bit uneven and look like it's natural. You also can cut it and get a perfect outline if you want. And an easy way to do that with these sample boards, let me get where I want to be here. I don't like to have the flower right in the middle. I like to have an asymmetrical design because that's usually a little bit better design. And so what I would probably do with these is get that flower a little off center and have the other flowers and the Roman numerals and the postal stamp on there. And an easy way to do this is to just flip it. You get a pencil, which I didn't grab. Let me get my, okay, here we go. Pencil, and go around and just do a quick outline. And that'll give me a line to cut with. And I'll go outside where I think it might need to be just a little bit to make sure I don't get it too small. And I can always trim more if I need to. It's just like sewing it. Once you cut it too small, you can't really add on to it. But if you've got a little bit of extra, you can always add. And that's exactly what happened here. I've got just a little bit on the corners, which I'll trim. And later, I'll also sand these edges a little bit. That's part of what I like about napkins. You can make the ends look really organic and uneven by sanding a little bit. And it doesn't look like it's cut to the wrong size or anything. And I chose this pattern because it's black and white, and I just thought it would be really attractive on the cotton, which is a nice neutral for the base. Nice plain white. Once you start with decoupage, you find that it's kind of addicting because there's so many wonderful papers out there to use, and it's like wallpaper in a room. It adds a lot of drama and a lot of dimension without a lot of work. If you were to try and draw something like this or paint it or stencil it, it would be a little bit more work. So I've got my paper, which again is a water-based decoupage medium. Hardly any odor to it, just like the rest of the line, really lovely. I'm using a small brush, and I'm just going to go over my wood surface. And you don't want it too heavy, you don't want it sopping wet, but you do want a good coverage. So you want enough so the paper will stick, not so much that it's sopping wet. And then I'm going to take my paper, and I usually like to lay it on and then roll out from the center. You know what works really nicely for this is a credit card. I don't have one on me right now, but if I were to have trouble with wrinkles, I could use a credit card and get those wrinkles out. But again, because this is a napkin and the paper is so thin, wrinkles are not really an issue. It just smooths right out just with my fingers, and it's not even sticky, which is nice. And Edward's going to give me his American Express, so here we go. Going to town. Here you go. And that's it. The napkins are, oops, I just went too far there. That's what you don't want to do. It's scraped too much. I'm going to go over this with a glaze, and we'll be able to fill that in a little bit and make it look antique, but I went over that just a little bit too hard. So sometimes with a napkin, you might want to just use your fingers because that will keep that from happening. Let me get a little bit of sandpaper here, and I'm going to get the edges nicely for you. Let's see.
Have the blocks.
Do you have blocks?
Back there. On the other side. Back there in the back.
Oh, I see. Okay. Here they are. Sandpaper blocks. So what I'm going to do is just go around the edges. And this is going to be a little uneven too, which is nice. Personally, I don't like it when things look too perfect. I like them to be distressed, and it goes with the glaze and gives kind of a used, antique, vintage look. And I don't have to go very hard. I'm just taking off the edge of the paper there right at the end. So where I didn't have it cut exactly to the right size, it doesn't matter because it's going to sand off beautifully. And see, there's no loose edges at all, and everything that's left over is here. Not much of it. And beautiful. So what I'm going to do is just do one more quick little light, very light layer to seal this. I will also do a clear coat too because I love to make sure everything's sealed properly. But I'm just going to do a really light layer on top of this to make sure that paper is fully adhered to the surface. And we're going to wait about an hour and let that dry, and then we'll go ahead and proceed with our glaze and our